Good morning. So, lecture on introduction of editing. Lecture on introduction of editing. So, what is the editing and what are the futures of editing? Today we are going to discuss, and also advantages and limitations of editing. We are going to discuss in a deep manner. First of all, what is the editing? Auditing is the examination or inspections of various books of accounts by the auditors, followed by the physical checking of inventory to the manufacturer, sure that all the departments following documents in a systematical manner or not. Auditing is the checking, verifications. In the olden days, additive is the term. Adhere is a adhere mean to listen. Listen. In the olden days, what will happen mean a person visiting to a company or any firm, and he or she listening the voice of the accountants. They are asking all together and they are listening everything. So after listening all the view by the editors or executives, low level employees and top level employees, middle level employees, the editor has listening, adding, there mean listening. Then finally he has concluded that. So based on their view, based on their talk, he has to conclude, oh, this is a report is good, this is the data is good. So anything they are going to give a conclusions. That is the main motive of the what call adhere. Now we are going to discuss about the editing. Editing is a systematic and independent examine of data. It is a systematically. Why we are calling systematically mean? So one by one, according to date wise, voucher wise, payment wise, receipt wise, cash entries, payment entries, sales entries, mean individually in a systematical manner, and is independent, is not dependent. It is independent examination of the data. What data and statements, records, operations and performance, financial and otherwise, of an enterprises for a state purpose. That statements basically we are recorded either financial statements, that is the profit and loss accounts and balance sheet, or any statements like fund flow statement, cash flow statement, ratios. These different types of statement is there we are preparing. Operations and performance, the operation of the firm and the performance with help of financial and other data of an enterprises for a stated purpose, for a particular stated purpose, decided purpose. This is the basic concept. And in any editing situations, the editor preserve, pursues, and recognize the propositions before him for examinations, collecting evidence, evaluates the same, and the basis of formulating the judgment. So first thing is the collecting evidence. So whatever the reports they are prepared, that reports, when they're going to evaluate, they have to collect the evidence. Based on the evidence, the editor will perform. Evidence mean supported documents. Say last month and 17th on last month, 10,000 rupees sales is there. What is the evidence? Evidence is a voucher. Evidence is the bill. So when the editor will verifying it, examining it, so the bill is a evidence for collecting all the bills, all the vouchers, all the format, and evaluates the same, and the basis of formulates the judgment, which is communicated through edit report. So based on that, so report has communicated to the in the proper way. The report is the a process of communications of the judgment by the editors. This definitions given by the Institute of Chartered Accounts of India, and the origin of editing can be traced by Italy. Around the year 1494, Luca Pacioli introduced dual entry system, double entry system. Mean, what is the double entry system? Debit is equal to credit. Always debit is equal to credit. So two aspects is there. Any transaction, you can take any of the transaction. For example, payment of wages. In the payment of wages mean, so employer paying wages to employee. Employee point of view is receiving, and employer point of view is paying. So both in any transaction, two of the aspects will having. The two is called, one is a debit and another one is a credit. And this credit debit also based on the different personal accounts and real accounts and nominal accounts and other procedures is there. Now the Luca Pacioli double entry system of bookkeeping and described the duties and responsibilities of editors. In the book of bookkeeping, so Luca Pacioli has stressed, described the editor duties and responsibilities. What are the editor duties and what he has to done in a systematical manner. So all together we are framing a duties and responsibility of the editors. Now coming to the next one, futures of editing. So what is the main characteristics of the editing? Let me discuss one by one. First one, editing is a systematic and scientific examination. It is a systematic, it's not a unsystematic. So zigzag mechanism is not happening. Everything is systematic. Whatever the data has recorded according to the date wise, chronological order, according to time wise, they are verifying each one. For example, so they in financial year begin from 1st April and 31st March. When the editor has verifying the records, so go for the 1st April and concluded by the March. This is the order we are going to follow. And for example, when he started the verification of the payment side, so then he completed the payments, then he go for the receipts. somewhat some a few transactions has verified payments and few transactions had verified receipt and few transactions has verified somewhat. It is not good. It is systematical process where the lacking will happen. So the lack will identify. That is the major things will happen in this account editing format. Auditing is a systematic and scientific examinations of the books of accounts of your business. Any business, it is an examination of the books, it is verifications and inspections and checking in a proper mechanism by the auditors. So this is the first characteristics of the auditing. Second one, going to the second one, audit is undertaken by an independent person. Is an independent person. Auditor is a independent person. Whatever the decision he has to take it, and he has to submit the reports. He or she maybe not depends on others. Is an independent body. Is an independent person. Whatever the reports has there, he verify it. He has examined it, and you submit the reports. That is the undertaking the independent persons or body also. For example, why we are called independent persons and body mean in some cases some of the editing institutional editor is there. A company has editing, some XYZ company, the institutional editing, who has done by qualified by the job, a qualified persons. In India, chartered accountant is a qualified person to perform the editing duty, and as well as in the independent factors. That's the one of the major future in the editing. And next, coming to the third one, editing is a verifications of the results. A results is already happened. Results is already happened. It shows in your reports. Now, editor duty is to verify it. He has not, again, he has rewriting. He is not going to rewrite and not going to correct it. His duty is to verify whatever the transaction is happened as per the vouchers is recorded or not. If the voucher, the whatever the transaction is matching or not, that is the main aim of the main features of the editor. Result shows by the profit and loss accounts and the statement affairs as shown by the balance sheet. The statements, whatever the amounts has showing in the balance sheet and profit and loss accounts. Each and every results, editors should verify verification in a systematical manner, and he or she maybe understand a clear structure, clear details about the company, and he has to easy to make a reports by the editor. That's the editing reports. Next, audit is a critical review of the systematic accounting and internal control. The systematical reports, the critical review me of system of accounting and internal control. Whatever the things happen, whatever the errors will happen, whatever the fraud will happen, that may be criticized. The mistake will criticized by the editors. A constructive criticism. A constructive criticism. It is help to improve the further next upcoming editing. And internal control mechanism also developed by the audit reports. The audit reports very much helpful to uh, management or employees to control the internal activities, to control the whatever the mistakes done in the previous reports. And next coming reports, maybe such type of reports, such type of errors, such type of things will not going to repeat. That is the controlling in a proper manner. Audit is done with the help of vouchers, documents, informations. and explanations received from the authorized. Basically, are it done with the help of vouchers? Already we discussed it. Payment voucher, sales voucher, contra voucher. So different types of vouchers is there. So based on the voucher, voucher is a one of the documents to verify the records, documents, informations, and explanations received from the concerned authorities of the company. That is also one of the main characteristics, main features of the auditing. Coming to the next one, auditor has to satisfy himself. First, auditor has to satisfy himself. First one, with the authenticity of the financial statement or reports, that they exhibit a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the concern. The auditor has to satisfy himself with the authenticity of the financial statements and report that they exhibit a true and fair view of the state of affairs of concern. That is the one thing. And the finally, the auditor has a inspect, compare, check, review, scrutinize the vouchers, supporting transactions, and examine correspondence. So auditor examine correspondence. Let me take a comparison. The previous month data compared to present month. Previous year data compared to this present year data. And last 3 year data will compare. Last 3 years sales will compare. It's a comparisons. Inspection. Inspection means, so at the time of closing the account, so the stock value is so much, so and so, so and so. But when we are visiting the godowns, stock value is different. Is not matching with records, not matching with accounts record. So this thing will identified by the auditors. If anything is not there, so anything, whatever the book value, same will available in the godowns and same will available in the everywhere. So it is not a problem to that one. And next, minute book of shareholders. Minute books mean when the meeting will happen, any official meetings will happen, either yearly or yearly twice and monthly once, whatever may be that. The minute book will helpful. So whatever the resolutions has made in that meeting and whatever the actual work will done. So whatever the resolutions, the same thing of work will happen or not. So actual resolution is different and actual work happened is different. So that is also not acceptable. And directors, memorandum of association and article of association. Already in the beginning of the company, starting of the company, we prepared the memorandum of association and article of association. These are the two important documents of the company, is a major activities, major documents of the company. In the order to establish a correctness of the books of accounts. These are the main features of the auditing. Now coming to the advantages of auditing. So what are the advantages of auditing? Let me discuss one by one. First one, for the owners of business. Basically, owners of business is a main major head of the company. The great reliability, because whatever the audit report has a great reliability to the shareholders. Increase in the overall profitability. When we are reducing, minimizing fraud and maximizing, errors reducing, then what will happen? It's happened to increase the profit of the company. The profitability will goes to increase. So it helps to distribute the more amount of distributions of dividends. It helps a proof that all the business transactions have been duly accounted for. There are no errors or fraud. Finally, duly accounted by the editor. So in this reports, errors or fraud or nothing will happen. If anything will happen, you must specify that. So and so date, so and so will happen errors and so will happen fraud. You must clearly mention it. So this is the main advantages of editing. And next, coming to the for the management point of view, advantages: easy dealing with third parties like banks, creditors, financial institutions, and insurance companies. When they are approaching the company management, going to approach for their loans or suppliers, credit supply. So when they are going to issuing loan, sanctioning of loan, before sanctioning, they ask them to submit edited reports. Mean these edited reports is very much helpful to the firm for getting loans from the financial institutions. Any insurance claim, any insurance issue related issues, we should submit the such document is mandatory of the edited documents. That is the major thing will happen in this. And it ensure the compliance with the legal requirements. This is the legal requirements, the complaints of the legal requirement. Next one, efficient use of resources through identification of inefficiency leading to the remedial measures. It acts as a moral check on the employees and improve the management control. It acts as a moral check on the employees and they improve management control. Next, it creates greater confidence of owners in management integrity. Finally, it's create greater confidence among the all stakeholders of the owners in the management integrity of that one. That is the major thing will happen. Next one, implies potential investors and creditors. Whatever the edited reports, it is a very much helpful to the employees, potential investors, and creditor. Based on the in point of view, employee point of view, based on the audit reports, they are asking for increasing of their salaries, increasing of their bonus, or etc. Because this audit report will very much helpful to bargain their earning capacities. That is the one thing. And it safeguards by audit report itself, it's showing the safeguard. Okay, this year profit is good, and that profit will certified by the concerned auditors. Then the employee will happy, government will happy, and company management will feel happy because they are earning profit and they are ready to distribute any type of dividends, in an interim dividend and final dividend. What will be that? Taking decision to grant credit to the bank business concerns. These are the major advantages in case of employees, potential investors, and finally investors. Investors is very important. So they are potential investor mean they are going to invest in future. So they are not going to invest money. Before going to invest the money, they thoroughly verify the all the records of the company, especially in profit oriented. But record prepared by the company management, they don't believe it. Because whatever the records prepared by the management, but it is verified by the editor, so they are very much believing. Okay, editor is an independent person. Editor is a government concerned person. So behalf of the government, so the editor has verifying the each and every reports. So potential investor has believed that reports and they are ready to invest in futures in any of the companies. That is the main motto of that one. Next, for governments. For government is a very important. Determination of the liabilities under sales tax, income tax. It helps to take policies decisions like price fixations, grants of subsidies, reductions of tax rates, etc. It produced the court to provide an evidence in future any problem. If any problem will happen in futures, this edited report is the evidence for the future and others benefit. The insurance companies to settle the claims arises on accounts of loss by the amalgamations and about absorptions. The purchasing company can calculate the considerable on the basis of edit. So this is the one major advantages. And coming to the limitations. Limitation of editing. Post-mortem of accounts. Already such the errors will happen. Fraud will happen. Already will happen. We won't change it. But we are, oh, this thing will happen. Oh, no, nothing will do. Nothing will do. That is the one post-mortem reports. And it is a post-mortem report. It may not be possible for him to discover the manipulations or fraud in the book of accounts at the preparatory stage, because maybe next year, the coming year, it goes to reduce or it goes to reduce the fraud or in case of error also. But at the present, we won't change. It won't change anything. That is the one thing. An audit may not provide complete picture. Audit, it's not provide complete picture. It's provided. Sometimes the audit has to depends on explanations and clarifications and information from the stop and clients. When any problem will rising, their explanation from the top management and concerned victim of that one, and clarification from that government side or any official side, and information passing to stop. These are the major disadvantages in the cost editing account. Okay, qualitative aspects ignored. Edit has a practical subject, mainly deals with the procedures and techniques of checking tickets, totaling, auctioning. As results, several aspects such as business ethics, morals, efficiency, and effectiveness are ignored. This thing will happen. Next, finally, inadequate external evidence. Debtors of the business may provide you wrong information. The value of the assets may go wrong in valuing an assets. Formation of faulty judgment, reduction, correctness, of report, the relationship to correctness and fairness of the prepositions in the book of accounts, and relations to correctness and fairness of the propositions in the books of accounts is based on evaluation and critical review of the evidence collected by him. And finally, thank you. Once again, I'm going to show PPTs. This is the introduction and definitions of the auditing. Auditing is a systematic, the independent examination, and the futures of auditing. These are the few futures of auditing. And coming to the last future, the audit has to inspect, compare, check, review, scrutinize the vouchers, supporting the transactions and examine correspondence, minute books of shareholders, directors, memorandum of associations, and article of association, etc., in order to establish correctness of the books of accounts. And advantages of auditing for the ownership business, management, employees, potential investors, and creditors, for government and others. Others mean insurance companies to settle the claims arising on account of loss by the firm amalgamations and absorptions. The purchasing company can calculate purchase considerations on the basis of audit account. The limitations of auditing. Post-mortem of accounts. Audit may not provide a complete picture. Qualitative aspects ignored. And finally, inadequate external evidence. Formulation of fault judgment. This thing will, I'm going to present a picture.